Howdy folks, in this episode I'm going to do a follow-up review of this Rockler Workbench. You may remember, or you may have seen the video that I did about 8 months ago now, where we put this thing together. It was out of the box review, and one of my subscribers, Jamie, thanks for this mate, I really appreciate it, asked how this was going, how the bench was holding up. Was it doing any racking, for example? Funny you should ask. Yes, it is, but not in this direction. It's pretty good in this direction, and the only thing I find is if I'm doing a lot of planing, it tends to slide, but that's just the kind of floor I've got, so I basically put a screw wooden block into the floor and it don't move. So it's great in this direction, but it's got some play. If I'm trying to use this end particularly, it's developed quite a pronounced ability to rack like that, and I think the glue has broken its joints. So I'm going to flip this puppy over and see what I can pull off the bottom and see if I can fix it. Maybe we can try upgrading the glue and see if that, you know, breathes some life back into it. And like I said, stable this way, but in this direction not so much. So it'd be nice to firm this up a bit without having to brace the ends with something. So I'm going to try that first, and then if that doesn't work, I'm gonna brace the ends. Okay, so as soon as I started lifting it, I could see that this joint here is definitely loose, at least on one end, as is that one, and at the bottom as well. So I think I'm going to be able to completely disassemble this just by some gentle tapping with the old mallet here. Yeah, there it goes. So, yeah, okay, as I suspected, the glue hasn't held up on the... That's... okay, right. So, yeah, the glue hasn't held up on these end grains. And it looks like we've got the same problem at the bottom here. So yeah, okay, that's what I thought. So what are our options? Let's think of some ideas here, because the problem we've got is we're trying to glue end grain onto cross grain, which never works well. Cross grain to cross grain, very strong, right? But end grain to cross grain is not good. And so what we're finding is that's quickly let go of that. All right, so I'm going to clean these up a bit with some sandpaper, pull them all off, and then I think I'm going to do a glue upgrade. I'm going to go and get some really meaty epoxy glue and see if we can't you know, restabilize this thing with some really good glue. Okay, just got back from the store, picked up some of this Gorilla epoxy. Apparently it sets in 5 minutes. It'll have a longer cure time than that, but I can clamp for 5 minutes and that should hold it together. And apparently it has a bond strength of 3,300 psi. So if this doesn't do it, then glue is not going to work on these joints. The bad news is I've realized I'm going to have to pull these pins out, sand all this down, get the old glue out of the way, do the same on the ends here, same on the bottom of the rack here, down the bottom there. And so I've got to basically take it all apart, and then I'm going to go to town with some of this Gorilla epoxy and see if it works. So let's get this going. Here's our clear Gorilla epoxy. Let's snap that off. And I've got enough now, so I'm going to mix up a bunch here. been sitting there probably 5 minutes and it's starting to set up already. So I'm going to have to hope that the clamp is going to pull it in. Otherwise it's not going to be pretty. We're going to have a gap there. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Alright, yeah, that's doing it. Okay. And we're getting some ooze there as well. So I'm going to get it directly above them to get them to go on square, I think. Like that. Okay. Alright. Yeah, they're holding already. Once I get a grip on them, the dowels will start doing the work, you know. This is the end I'm most concerned with, because this is where it broke loose before when I was planing across. So I want to make sure we're really well set on this end. Yeah, just thought I'd double check. I'd remember the drying times right. It's actually 20 minutes. 30 minutes. Clamp surfaces together or leave undisturbed for 30 minutes. So I've done both. This end not so much, but this end I'm going to leave it for. I'm going to leave it for a good hour or two, and I'll come back and then we'll flip this puppy back over and leave it overnight, I think, to let this stuff really set up, and then hopefully tomorrow we can test to see how strong it really is. It'll be interesting to see how well that's worked. All right, folks, we'll see you in just a few seconds. Okay, so it's been about 2.5 to 3 hours. I've left this to just dry on its own. Let's take the clamps off and see what we got. Compared to what it was when we started this little project earlier today, that is like super solid. That is not in any way wiggly, and it hasn't even finished curing yet. I can tell that's not hard yet. It's still kind of sticky, but even in that state, this is way more solid than it was before. So this stuff is setting up real good. I'm going to give it some more time. I am going to flip it over so that the weight of the workbench will be helping to, helping in the drying process and keeping it compressed. So let's flip that back over. All right. Okay. All right. Good. I'll let the weight of the bench do the rest of the work on those joins there. And I'm willing to bet that by the morning, when that epoxy resin has really set off and gone as hard as it's going to get, because basically it dries as hard as glass, that stuff, once it really goes. So this should be a pretty solid bench. Okay, so next morning, it's had all night to cure, and it seems to be very solid. Yeah, and it'll slide on the floor before it will give, which is a good sign. So that isn't going to do any more racking. Yeah, so only time will tell if the fix is really permanent. I think it probably will be. But if it does break out again, I will use a different solution, and I'll go with a bolt solution, much more like that, which is clearly successfully holding these cross pieces very firmly. And so we'd have to countersink the bolt underneath so it doesn't interfere with the feet. But it'd be a small upgrade. Probably actually would have been easier to do that than do all this gluing, but yeah, there you are. Other than that, like I've said, would I buy this bench again? You bet. If you're looking to buy a bench, I would definitely consider this one and do the glue upgrade right out of the gate. Don't mess with whatever they send you, but put an epoxy in there, because I can see that is very solid. I don't think that's going to break out anytime soon. All right, well, there you go, folks. Hope that was helpful. And we look forward to seeing you on another episode of Smoogleville very soon. More coming up, folks, so stay tuned. See you around. Take care. Please click the like button if you found this episode helpful, and we'd love to have you as a subscriber, as there's always something interesting going on in the Smoogleville workshop.